I'm Dana, from Tempe, Arizona. I had a best friend named Claire since college. We were inseparable, bridesmaids for each other, godmothers to each other's pets, the kind of bond that feels unbreakable. When I married my husband, Ethan, Claire helped me plan the wedding. She stood right beside me on the altar, grinning like it was her own big day. I never questioned her loyalty. Claire and I met during freshman orientation at Arizona State. We both reached for the same coffee cup at the welcome breakfast, laughed at the awkwardness, and spent the next 4 hours talking like we'd known each other forever. By sophomore year, we were inseparable. We shared an apartment off campus, stayed up all night during finals week quizzing each other, and held each other through heartbreaks. Blood doesn't make family, Claire used to say, squeezing my hand. We choose our family, and I choose you. I believed her. Every word. When I met Ethan in our senior year, Claire was the first person I called. He was charming, ambitious, with a smile that made my heart race and a quick wit that kept me laughing. Claire gave her immediate approval. He looks at you like you're the only star in the sky, she told me. That's rare, Dana. Don't let him go. After graduation, Claire and I both stayed in Tempe. She landed a marketing position at a growing tech firm, while I pursued graphic design. Ethan proposed a year later, on a hike through Papago Park at sunset. Claire screamed louder than I did when I showed her the ring. For months, Claire helped me plan every detail of the wedding. She knew my taste better than I did sometimes. She suggested the perfect venue, a renovated historic building downtown with exposed brick walls and string lights. She helped me choose flowers, tasted cake samples, and vetoed dresses that didn't flatter me. You deserve perfection, she insisted. On my wedding day, Claire woke up at 5 a.m. to make sure everything was ready. She fixed my veil when it kept falling, touched up my makeup when I cried during the vows, and gave the most beautiful maid of honor speech that had everyone in tears. Dana and Ethan, she said, raising her champagne glass, you two are proof that true love exists. I've watched this love story unfold from the beginning, and I can honestly say I've never seen two people more perfect for each other. The first year of marriage was blissful. Ethan and I bought a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. We painted the walls together, argued over furniture placement, and hosted dinner parties where Claire was always the most enthusiastic guest. Then the economy took a downturn. Ethan worked for a startup that suddenly announced layoffs. He came home that night, tie loosened, eyes hollow. I didn't make the cut, he said quietly. 30% of the staff. Gone. I held him as he processed the shock. We'll figure it out, I promised. You're talented. You'll find something better. While job hunting, Ethan decided to pick up freelance web development work. Our second bedroom became his office. I adjusted to seeing him hunched over his laptop at all hours, the blue light reflecting off his glasses. Around the same time, Claire went through a messy breakup with her boyfriend of 2 years. She'd caught him texting another woman, intimate messages that left no doubt about his infidelity. Men are all the same, she sobbed on our couch one evening. Except Ethan, of course. You got the last good one. I rubbed her back and assured her she'd find someone worthy eventually. After that night, Claire started stopping by more frequently. Sometimes with takeout, often with wine. Just checking on you guys, she'd say. Making sure Ethan isn't going stir-crazy working from home. At first, I appreciated her concern. Ethan seemed happier after her visits. More relaxed. I was busy with work, often staying late to impress a demanding client, so I was grateful someone was keeping him company. But small things started nagging at me. Claire began arriving in professional attire but always had a change of clothes in her bag, usually something more casual but noticeably flattering. Shorts that showcased her long legs or tops that emphasized her figure. I hate sitting around in work clothes, she explained when I noticed once. You don't mind, right? I've always been comfortable here. There were other moments that gave me pause. Walking into rooms where conversations suddenly shifted. The way Ethan's phone would sometimes light up with Claire's text messages late at night. How he'd step outside to take calls, claiming it was just work stuff. One Saturday morning, I found one of Claire's earrings between our couch cushions. A small silver hoop I'd seen her wear frequently. "Oh, Claire must have lost it when she was over," Ethan said casually. "I'll give it to her next time." "When was she here?" I asked, realizing I hadn't seen her in several days. "Yesterday," he replied, too quickly. "She dropped by to use the printer. Her home one broke." I didn't remember seeing Claire, but I'd been in my home office most of the day with the door closed. Still, something felt off about his explanation. 2 weeks later, I had to attend a weekend conference in Phoenix. It was only a 30-minute drive, but the event included evening networking sessions, so I'd booked a hotel room for convenience. "I'll miss you," Ethan said, kissing me goodbye on Friday morning. "Don't work too hard." The conference was exhausting but productive. By Sunday afternoon, I'd made several promising contacts and even secured a potential new client. The final session ended earlier than scheduled, and I realized I could be home by dinner instead of staying another night. I decided to surprise Ethan. I stopped at our favorite Thai restaurant and picked up his usual order, green curry with extra basil and coconut rice. I imagined his face lighting up when he saw me, how we'd curl up on the couch together and watch whatever sci-fi show he was currently obsessed with. As I pulled into our driveway, I noticed Claire's blue Nissan parked on the street. My first thought was how nice it was that she was keeping Ethan company while I was away. Maybe she'd join us for dinner. I balanced the takeout bags in one arm and used my key to unlock the front door. The house was surprisingly quiet, but I could smell something cooking, garlic and butter and herbs. "Ethan?" I called out, walking toward the kitchen. And there she was. Claire. Standing at my stove, stirring something in a pan. Wearing my silk robe, the one Ethan had given me for our anniversary. Her hair was damp, as if she'd just showered. She turned, and the wooden spoon clattered to the floor when she saw me. "Dana," she whispered, her face draining of color. There was a sound from the hallway, and Ethan appeared, wearing only jeans, his chest bare. He stopped abruptly when he saw me, eyes widening in shock. "You're home," he said stupidly. The takeout bags slipped from my grasp. I heard rather than felt them hit the floor. The three of us stood frozen in a tableau of betrayal. Claire spoke first. "Dana, it just happened. We didn't mean for this." "We were going to tell you," Ethan interrupted. "I just didn't know how." He took a step toward me. "We didn't want to hurt you." I stared at them both. My husband. My best friend. The two people I trusted most in the world, standing in my kitchen, looking at me with a mixture of guilt and pity. "How long?" I asked, my voice so calm it surprised even me. They exchanged glances. 3 months, Claire admitted. "It started that night I came over after my breakup." "We were planning to tell you after your birthday next month," Ethan added quickly. "We didn't want to ruin your celebration." How considerate. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. A strange calm settled over me, like I was watching the scene from above, disconnected from my body. "I see," I said. I walked past them to our bedroom, the room where my husband had clearly just been with my best friend. I grabbed his largest suitcase from the closet and began methodically filling it with his clothes. T-shirts, jeans, socks, underwear. I could hear them following me, their voices pleading, but their words didn't register. Once the suitcase was full, I dragged it through the house and out the front door. With a strength I didn't know I possessed, I hurled it onto the front lawn. Then I went back for another load. Claire followed me outside, still wearing my robe, tears streaming down her face. "Dana, please, can we talk about this?" I know it's unforgivable, but... You can keep the robe, I told her, my voice flat. It matches the betrayal. I went back inside, locked the door, and systematically blocked both their numbers on my phone. Then I sat on the edge of the bathtub and waited for the emotion to hit me. It didn't. Not yet. The next morning, I contacted a divorce attorney. I sent the paperwork to Claire's address, with a sticky note that read, "You can have what's left of him. I'm done." But I wasn't done. Not really. The shock had worn off, and in its place grew something darker. Something calculating. I remembered all the times Claire had commented on how lucky I was to have found Ethan. The way she'd sometimes touch his arm a beat too long. How she always asked about our relationship, our intimacy, under the guise of friendly curiosity. The pieces started fitting together in my mind, creating a picture of deliberate seduction. A planned betrayal. And I realized I wasn't ready to simply walk away. Phase 1 was practical. I emptied our joint accounts, except for the minimum to avoid fees. When Ethan called from a new number, frantic about the missing money, I explained through my lawyer that I was simply securing my financial interests pending the divorce. Legally, I was within my rights. "She's trying to ruin me," I overheard Ethan complain to Claire when they came to collect more of his things. I had given them a 2-hour window, making sure I wouldn't be home. "We'll figure it out," Claire assured him. "My place is small, but we'll make it work." My neighbor, Mrs. Patel, reported their conversation to me later. I had recruited her as my eyes and ears, explaining enough of the situation to secure her sympathies. Phase 2 involved their reputations. I didn't do anything dramatic like announce their affair on social media. Instead, I reached out individually to our mutual friends, sharing my heartbreak with calculated vulnerability. "I'm just trying to understand how this happened," would say, voice trembling. "Did you ever notice anything between them? Were there signs I missed?" By positioning myself as the confused, wounded party seeking answers rather than revenge, I ensured that every friend who heard my story would look at Ethan and Claire differently. Their betrayal became the lens through which all their past actions were re-examined. Within weeks, invitations to them dwindled. Claire's workplace became noticeably chillier, her boss's wife was in my book club, and while I never explicitly asked for professional consequences, my tearful confession during our monthly meeting had the intended effect. "I just don't know how I can trust anyone's loyalty anymore," I had said, eyes downcast. The next phase was more intricate. I knew Claire had been angling for a promotion at her company. The position required someone with impeccable judgment and trustworthiness. Through a mutual connection, I ensured that the story of how Claire had betrayed her best friend reached the ears of the hiring committee. She didn't get the promotion. As for Ethan, his freelance work depended heavily on referrals. I reached out to his largest client, a connection I had actually helped him secure through my own professional network. "I'm not trying to interfere with Ethan's work," I assured them. "I just wanted you to know that our personal situation has changed, and I can no longer vouch for his reliability like I once did." The client, already hesitant about some missed deadlines, decided not to renew his contract. Throughout all of this, I maintained a facade of dignified recovery. I joined a gym, refreshed my wardrobe, and accepted every social invitation that came my way. When people commented on how well I was handling the divorce, I would smile softly. "Life is too short to let betrayal define you," I would say. "I'm choosing to focus on building something new." Meanwhile, snippets of information about Ethan and Claire's relationship reached me. They were arguing more. Financial stress was taking its toll. Claire was growing frustrated with Ethan's inability to secure steady work. Ethan was questioning whether their relationship was worth what they'd sacrificed. 6 months after discovering their affair, I received a text from Claire, "Can we talk? Please." I didn't respond. A week later, Ethan called from another new number. "Dana, I made a terrible mistake. Claire and it's not working. I miss you. I miss our life. I let his voicemail play to the end, then deleted it. The final phase of my plan came when I learned they had broken up. Claire moved to a smaller apartment closer to her job. Ethan temporarily moved in with his brother in Scottsdale. Both were miserable, isolated, their reputations tarnished, their confidence shaken. Only then did I agree to meet Claire at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, none of the careful styling she used to pride herself on. "Thank you for meeting me," she said, voice small. "I know I don't deserve your time." I sipped my latte, saying nothing. "I just wanted to tell you in person how sorry I am," she continued. "What I did was unforgivable. I betrayed your trust in the worst possible way." I studied her face. The remorse seemed genuine, but then, Claire had always been convincing. "Why did you do it?" I asked. The question had haunted me for months. She stared down at her untouched coffee. "I was jealous," she finally admitted. "You had everything I wanted, the perfect husband, the beautiful home, the successful career. I told myself I deserved some of that happiness too." She looked up, tears spilling down her cheeks. "It was selfish and cruel and I hate myself for it." I nodded slowly. "Do you know what the worst part was? Not that you slept with my husband. Not even that you lied to my face for months." I leaned forward. "It was that you made me doubt every moment of our friendship. Every time you supported me, every piece of advice you gave me, was it real, or were you just positioning yourself to take what I had?" Claire flinched as if I'd slapped her. "It was real," she whispered. "Our friendship was real. I just lost myself somewhere along the way." I stood up, gathering my purse. "I filed the final divorce papers. Ethan's not contesting anything, so it should be official within weeks." I looked down at her, this woman I had once trusted with everything. "I hope it was worth it." As I walked away, she called after me, "Dana, can you ever forgive me?" I paused at the door, turning back with a small, enigmatic smile. "I already have, Claire. That's why I'm walking away instead of destroying you completely." Her expression told me she understood the implied threat, and that I had chosen mercy when I could have chosen vengeance. 2 weeks later, I accepted a job offer in San Diego. A fresh start in a new city. As I packed up my house, now legally mine in the divorce settlement, I found one of Claire's earrings that had been missed in Ethan's hasty departure. The match to the one I'd found in the couch months earlier. I placed it in a small envelope and mailed it to her without a note. Sometimes I wonder if they ever think about me, if they recognize how meticulously I orchestrated their downfall. How each setback they experienced wasn't bad luck but careful planning. How I could have done far worse if I'd been truly vindictive. Or perhaps they believe they simply suffered the natural consequences of their actions, karma working its mysterious way through their lives. I prefer that interpretation. It's neater. More poetic. My new home overlooks the Pacific. From my balcony, I can watch the waves crash against the shore, erasing footprints in the sand. Nature's own way of healing, of starting fresh. I've started dating again, cautiously. I've made new friends, though I keep them at a certain distance. The capacity for trust that I once had has been altered, perhaps permanently. Sometimes, late at night, I still feel a flash of rage when I remember finding Claire in my kitchen, wearing my robe. In those moments, I wonder if my revenge was complete enough, if they truly suffered as I did. But then I remind myself, living well isn't just the best revenge, it's the only one that doesn't leave a scar on your own soul. At least, that's what I tell myself. What they don't know is that I keep a file, digital and secure, with every text, every email, every piece of evidence of their betrayal. Insurance, I call it. Protection against the day one of them might try to rewrite our history. Because while I've moved on, I haven't forgotten. And I never will.